favcon is these little icons right here. Okay, you can see them. Google has the G, Yahoo has the Y, West Valley has a W with a little leaf right there. Outlook, I don't know. So they're called favorite icons, and they come from back in the days of Internet Explorer. If you remember the days of Internet Explorer 3, yes? Remember the days of Internet Explorer 3? They wanted to have the ability to put these little icons in the favorite area, so they called it a favcon. It took off, and of course the rest of the browsers adapted it from Internet Explorer, but they still kept the word favcon because of the favorite icons. So something that Internet Explorer invented. Wow. To do that, you need to make a graphic. If you look at the handout here, you'll see that you need to make a graphic that is square. Now, it's going to display at 16 by 16 pixels, but you can make it a little bigger because, you know, when you're in Photoshop or inside some kind of paint program and you're drawing at 16 by 16 pixels, it's kind of hard because, you know, there's not a lot of pixels. So you can actually draw with a bigger size image, but when you go to put it on the web page, like here, you'll see it here, it's going to display at 16 by 16 pixels. So you can make it bigger, just keep in mind it's going to shrink it down to fit in that little area. Okay, so, you know, if you're really good at making small things, the favcon should work well for you. So the easiest way to make one is to use a paint program. I tend to use Photoshop, so if you don't have a Photoshop, you should have a PS in your dock. If you don't have a PS in your dock, you can click and find it under the application folder. Where's the application folder? Well, it's on your hard drive. Hold on. I'm missing a space here. Somebody has made this program way too big here. Hold on. Okay. You're not going to let me do that, are you? Hold on, I have to adjust this window. It's going to bother me. Still can't get to the bottom? There we go. Hold on, I have to adjust my window. What did we have it at before? Hold on. Okay, I think that's the biggest size I can get. And there's no way to hide this window, huh? Okay, so did everybody find Photoshop? Okay, so to make a new file, we're going to go underneath File, New, File, New, File, New in Photoshop. Inside Photoshop, again, you got pixels. Last class we were looking at pixels, right? So to make a favcon, I'm going to make it bigger, like 32 by 32. 32 by 32. Again, the resolution's at 72. White background is fine. Make sure it says 8-bit right here. 8-bit. If you have anything higher than 8-bit, it won't let you save in the proper formats. And of course RGB, since we are making things for the screen, right? Okay, so hit OK. It's going to give you a tiny little square. And if it comes up with this thing, don't worry about it. It's just a computer thing. So you get a little square. To zoom in, you hit Command plus on the keyboard, if you remember that from last class when we were making those little gradients, right? Okay, so Command plus will zoom in. Now you can pretty much put anything you want in a favcon, and in fact they even said you could do a GIF animation in a favcon, but I have yet to see something like that. Okay, so you can pretty much make any kind of artwork you want. Usually what makes a nice favcon is something simple. If you look again, I have this big kind of glowing R. Do you see that? YouTube has a little play button, right? Google has a big G. Yahoo has a big Y. West Valley has their logo. A logo is very popular to put into your favcon. So you can actually put anything you want in there. I'm going to use a letter because I like letters. Again, the letters and the text tool inside of Photoshop is down here. It's called the text tool. It looks like a T for text. Okay, when you want to change the size after you choose the text, you can choose the font up here, whatever font you want. You can choose a size right here, whatever size you want. Remember, this is a real small square, so I wouldn't use very big. You can always adjust it later. You can change the color of the font you want right there. Color of the font. And to put the font on the screen, I'm just going to click with the mouse and I'm going to type in my whatever letter you want. In this case, I'm still an R. If you want to make it bigger after you've typed it, you can use the Move tool, which is the one at the very top up here. If you click on that, and then you click on Show Transform Tools right here. So again, after you put it on there and you want to make it bigger, you can click on the Show Transform here. And so Move tool, Show Transform, and you can drag your object larger if you want. I don't know if I like this font. If you want to change the font, you can go back to the text tool. So the only tools I'm really using, again, are the text tool and the Move tool. The text tool, again, can be used, and I'm going to select my text and change the font. I don't like that font. Let's see. That's even uglier. We want something nice and simple that I can see. Again, this is going to shrink it down, so you want something simple that you can see. I don't usually use a script font. Something simple. That's pretty ugly. That's uglier. That's not going to be readable. Okay, big R, that's all I got. Again, I use the Move tool right here and Show Transform Tools to adjust it or whatever you want. I'm going to make it a little smaller by clicking on the edge and dragging it a little smaller. Now, if you noticed in my favicon, I kind of have a glow around the outside. To make a glow around the outside and so always click on the Move tool to take any transform. To make a glow around the outside or on the inside, I'm going to use the effects. The effects are located in the Layers window inside of Photoshop. In the Layers window in Photoshop, you have something at the very bottom called FX. In the FX, you can have an outer glow, inner shadow, outer glow. Maybe I'll have a little outer glow on my thing. That doesn't really show up, does it? There we go. I'm going to choose normal here. There's a little outer glow. Maybe change the color. There we go. A nice kind of blue glow around the outside. And then maybe even an inner glow. Let's try that. Inner glow, inner glow, inner glow. Look at that. Now that's not going to work very well. Well, big R is fine with the outer blue. Hey, that's cool. I'll make it a little bit bigger maybe. Bless you. There we go. We got it. If you want to see what it's going to look like in your icon, you can zoom out by using Command minus and see what it looks like, kind of tiny like that. Probably at like 50%. It's 100%. It's like 50%. It'll kind of look like that if you zoom out. There, like at 50%. So my R is not too bad. You can see. You want to be able to see it when it's tiny, right? You got to be able to see it when it's tiny. So finish making it, and I will show you how to save. And then here we are. We have our nice icon. Again, it's 32 by 32, but it's going to display 16 by 16. So to save it, I'm going to go under File, Save As. File, Save As. Again, I need to put it next to where my index file is. Last class we were doing some backgrounds, remember that? And I'm going to a folder called Week 3 Graphic. I'm just going to put it in there because it's the same thing. We're doing a graphic lecture. So, but make sure you know where you are saving your file and make ssure that when we get to Dreamweaver, you put the HTML in the same folder of where this favicon is, okay? You got to start managing your own files. Me not telling you. Over here where it says Format, again, remember we're choosing BMP. BMP. Format BMP. Up here at the top, we're going to get rid of all that and we're going to call it FAVICON .ICO. ICO, just like it says in the handout there. Now, can I call it something other than favicon? Sure. You can give it any name you want. I'm just calling that because the code is kind of made for that. But you can actually call your favcon anything you want. It could be myicon.ico as long as it has a .iaco extension. It's just the favcon is just like the general rule of the way you would do it. So after you do that, make sure you know where it's going. Hit save. Leave all the default here is fine. Default here for the BMP options. Windows 24-bit is fine. Hit OK, and it didn't give me an error message. On Windows, you might get an error message saying you can't save this without the BMP extension. Again, go to the operating system, remove the .bmp, and it should work. Okay, let's go to Dreamweaver now. You might want to save this as a working file. You don't really need to. If you wanted to go back and work on it. Okay, in Dreamweaver, let me go back to Dreamweaver.
Jeff,
Yes?
when I try to save file format, there window in OS2. So
What?
I should have saved as OS2.
A what?
There's a file, BMP option.
Again, if you haven't defined site, you need to go under site, new site. If you've already defined site, like last class, hey, it's bringing me the old stuff from last class because my folder's in the same location. Hey, I don't have to do anything. But if you don't have a folder like we did from last class, just like we do every class, you're just going to have to get used to doing it. You need to go under site, new site, give it a name, hit the folder, and go and choose the folder. Right? It's on every handout I've given you so far doing this step. And remember, if you want to put it on the server, you have to go to server and put in the server information, right? So every time you want to make a new page, you need to do that. Now I've already have a folder with some stuff in it from last class, so I'm not going to do this define site again. I'm just going to start with a new file by going under File, New, blank HTML, none, whatever you want. I'm still using internal CSS for right now. Next class we're really going to have to start using external CSS. And this is going to be my fav icon sample. And we should probably learn Google Fonts at the same time. You ready for Google Fonts? Okay, let's learn Google Fonts at the same time. We're learning favcon and Google Fonts at the same time because I know you're smart enough to do it and we can do it all together. It's not that hard. First thing I'm going to do is, if you remember from last class, so just type some text on there. Any text is fine. I just called it favcon sample. So in this case, if you remember from last class and we had the handout about words and marketing, remember doing words and marketing? And I said the text on the screen is very important to marketing. And what size should the text on the top of the screen be? What was that?
Heading 1.
Heading 1. There you go. Thank you. So we're going to make this top one heading 1. So I'm going to highlight it. And I'm going to go to where it says Format down here in the Properties window. So I'll highlight whatever text you type on, it doesn't matter. I'm going to go down to where it says Format, and I'm going to call it Heading 1. So it's kind of big, but that's okay. Now, let's finish with the favcon, and then we'll learn the Google Fonts. I just want to finish with the favcon, and then we'll learn Google Fonts. So in this case, let's save. I'm going to save this file by going under File, Save As, File, Save As. And let's give it a name. Remember, this would be my first page, which would be index.html, but you might have it index.html. So you can give it any name you want, but again, you only need the favcon on the first page. So I'm just going to call it my fav icon sample .html. Okay, the code for the FabCon, if you turn the page in your handout, do you see the handout that I gave you? If you turn the page, you'll see the code on the second page. You have to type it in by hand or steal it from some other site. Where can I find this code where I can copy and paste it? Well, you can copy and paste it from the Wikipedia site, or you can copy and paste it from my website, okay, or you can just type it in by hand, okay, or type it in by hand. Where does the code go? It needs to go in the head section. See my handout? It says the code is very simple. Place in the head section of your web page. Do you see that? So where's my head section? If I go to the code view right here, if I go to the code view, you'll notice the head section is up here at the top. Head section's up here. So somewhere up there, I'm going to put it right after the character set. Somewhere up there, I can just hit the chevron link, space, rel, equals, quote, short, cut, icon, quote, space, type, equals, image, / x, icon, and then an href equals whatever the name of the FabCon. I called it again, favicon.ico, and then a space / chevron. So just like it's written right there, if you just type, you can type it in just like it is right there, written in the handout. So type that here is a way of designating what is going on. In this case, you're using an image icon. The image is designated, it's a graphic, and the X icon is telling it what kind of graphic it's an icon. When we get to doing web pages with jQuery, jQuery can have UI elements. What is a UI element? It's a pre-made graphic that is part of the application, and you can call that, like the home button, right? Like you see little home things, right? And then you have like things like on a cell phone, right? You see the little house that looks like a house, right? That's an icon. So this is way of designating. So that this one is designating that kind of same concept. Hey, this is an icon. And then this is telling it what kind of icon. It's a shortcut icon. So yeah, I don't know. You can read it at Wikipedia. They'll explain it to you, but there's reasons why it needs to be there, is what I'm trying to say. Okay, preview. Preview in Firefox is the little world. See the little earth right there? You might save it. You might have to save it. It's going to say save it. Yeah, save it. Preview. And you should see your little icon up here in the upper corner right there. See it right there? It should be in the upper corner. So again, it's Google, google.com / fonts, FONTS. Fonts. Google.com / fonts. Did anybody find it? Okay, so how you use Google Fonts. Now you can use multiple fonts on your page, but in this case, I'm just going to use one right now. Of course, Roboto, the first one right here, is Roboto is the font that Google has invented for the Android operating system. So if you have an Android operating system on your phone, you're using Roboto because that is the font that's designated for the Android operating system. This one. But there's all kinds of different fonts. You can choose whatever font you want for your web page. You might want to do something a little different, you know, because, you know, the text usually is kind of boring on web pages. Hey, we got the ability to make cool fonts now using Google Fonts or the Adobe fonts. The downfall using Adobe fonts is that they're going to want you to pay. They'll give you a few free ones. Hey, here's some free ones, but any cool ones, you know, they're going to make you, hey, you pay me for it. This one, I'm going to use this one because, you know, this is quite different than what I'm used to. This one's called Lobster. Hey, Lobster sounds good. I like Lobster. To use one of these fonts, you say Add to Collection. Do you see it in the lower right corner there? Boom. Okay, once you click on that, it's going to give you some information down here. And you'll notice there's one that says Use right here. Do you see where it says Use? Click on Use. what it's going to do is it's going to give you some information in the Use button. First one's going to tell you, hey, what the normal look will look like. So this gives me a normal look at normal 400. What's that?
I don't know about everyone else, but Jeff and I didn't get a page that said use. It just says, it keeps it on that same page and it says remove from collection.
Okay, hold on. No, downloading on a high-speed internet on my computer wasn't really a big deal. But then, of course, that phone thing came along, and we had these G3 connections that are like slow. And so when you're thinking about making web pages for phones and iPads and slow connections, page loading time is important. So they give you some impact. Hey, this is how long it's going to take to download. Okay, so after you read this page and see it, what you need is 2 lines of code. If you scroll down, scroll down, scroll down, the first line of code is this one right here. You're going to copy and paste this line of code into your head section. So you're going to copy and paste this line of code into your head section. Notice they even said it here. To embed your collection on your page, copy this code first element in the head section of your HTML document. So again, copy on the keyboard is Command-C or Control-C on your Bill Gates computer. Click on Dreamweaver. Here's my head section. I'm going to put it right here at the very top of my head section, right after the word head, and I'm going to hit Command-V to paste it. Command-V. So again, that line of code that you just did there. You just need to copy and paste. Did you get it?
You have to hit return.
Well, yeah, after head, I wanted a new line, so I hit return to give me a new line.
It doesn't matter where in the head section it is. Right?
It doesn't really matter where it's at in the head section, as long as it's in the head section. Everybody got that? Okay, now next you need to have the CSS for the H1 tag. Okay, now there's an easy way of doing that. Is you could go to the CSS designer, if you remember that. I'm going to go back to Favcon. I'm going to go back to design view for now. For right now, I'm going to go back to design view. We need to add some CSS, because right now if you look at the code, there's no CSS, there's no option for CSS here at the top head section. Now you can write it all by hand by using the chevron style, but if you don't want to write by hand, because you don't want to write by hand, the way to do it in the program is to go to where it says CSS Designer. If you don't see your CSS Designer, again it's under Window. CSS Designer will bring up this window. We've been using this window for a long time now. For a couple classes now. And the first one I'm going to do is in the little plus at the very top, I'm going to say define in page, define in page. And then once I do that, it's going to give me my style. And of course, since our text at the top here is in the H1 tag, right? Remember that in the H1 tag? So I'm going to go down here to where the plus is here, and I'm going to put in H1, H1. So again, all I did was click up here, define in page, click on here, go down here to H1, H1. What did that do? Well, doing this step that I just did up here, if you look at the code view now, you'll notice you have some style information inside of the code now. Do you see that? Now again, you can type this by hand, and in fact, in the handout, I've included that, I think, somewhere. No, we don't have a handout for this, do we? I guess we don't have a handout for this. We're making it up as we go along. I don't have a handout for this. We can take a screen grab. There we go. Hey, now I have a handout. Okay, everybody got that code? If you go back to the Google web page, hopefully you didn't close it. If you scroll down a little bit, scroll down just a little bit more, it'll say here, integrate this font into your CSS. Remember we made a H1 CSS? So I'm going to highlight this line right here for the font family, lobster cursor. Do you see that right there, that whole line right there? I'm going to copy, Command-C. And I'm going to go back to my Dreamweaver. In this style option here, you see the little carets? This is designated. You put your CSS So this is the one that we're targeting. Remember, the H1 is where we're targeting. In between the brackets here is where your code needs to go. So after this bracket right here, I'm going to hit return on my keyboard, and then paste this Command V. Command V. Now that's all I need to do right now. I didn't give it a size. It's already H1 size. If I save this and preview, you should see your font in Lobster. So you can't see it in Dreamweaver. If you go to Design View, it still looks the same. Hey, I don't see no font here. I don't see no font here. Okay, but if I preview in Firefox or Safari, you should see your font. It should look beautiful in the way that you want. And that's how you use a font in Google Fonts. We got a little favicon, and we got our fonts here.
Do you need to put the return after each one, or does it matter?
The return after the H1. I need a new line, if that's what you're asking here. This needs this on one line, a new line here, and then this on another line. Live actually works too. I don't like live though. Live is evil. I don't like live. Yes?
If you use an Adobe font, do you have to like pay every month, like the Creative Cloud?
Yeah. What's that?
What happens then if you don't pay anymore? Does your website fall down because you?
I don't know. It depends on the link. Because Adobe does the same thing. You call to the Adobe font. Some fonts you download from Adobe, some you call to it, like we just called to Google to do this. So it depends. Some fonts, there's a whole bunch of different ways of doing fonts. This is just one easy way.
But this is just, now we've just defined our H1 to have this font, nothing else.
Nothing else on the page has that font.
Otherwise, we could put body, then everything would.
Everything would have that if you did the body, yes.
So, what you're saying is this will actually go to Google to grab that font.
Yeah.
Every single time. So let's say, hypothetically, if Google's servers went down, then you won't be able to grab that.
That first line that's up here, this tells it right here. See the link right here? It goes httfonts.google whatever lobster there. So it's going to Google to choose the font. Yeah, if Google goes down, your font's not going to show.
If you save the HTML file and you view it as an offline file, then will it show the Google fonts, or will it just show like defaults?
If you download the font, you mean? Is that what you're saying?
Download the page. If you save the page as an HTML on your computer.
I don't know. It's still calling to Google, so I don't know. Still calling to Google every time for the use the font. So yeah, this isn't the best solution because again, it has to. You could, in theory, download a font and then put it on your web server, and then call it to your web server. And there's ways of doing that. I have some videos that explain how to do that. But that's not as easy as just doing this. I mean, this was only 2 lines of code. Hey, I got font. So you can buy fonts, put them on your server, and then call to it on your web server. But that's a little bit more work.
I bought a font, but I haven't known how to use it.
What's that?
I bought a font,
Oh, you bought a font.
for
Yeah.
my logo.
Oh.
So I just use a Photoshop, make a JPEG.
That's the easier way, yeah. Okay, let's do the last thing. So this was all fun, and so we talked about Google Fonts very easily. And then we made our favicon. So the last thing I want to talk about today, of course, was the little code on the back. Okay, how do we make this wonderful code? Well, the wonderful code comes from linking to a web page. And let me show you some of the ones I made here. Hold on 1 second. Hold on. So I can show you. Let me stop this. Now, when you make a QR code, you can make it go to any address you want on the internet. Any address. You can make it go to a YouTube video. You can make it go to a web page. You can make it go to google.com, wherever you want it to go. So, in this case, how I use it is I make a specific page that's usually formatted for that's why I shrunk it down. It's usually formatted for a phone because usually you QR code on your phone. So the reason why the web page is formatted in this way is I am using jQuery to use the cell phone features of jQuery to give you that kind of look. Okay, so this kind of has like a cell phone web page look to it, where I have, so if somebody is in the store and they're walking along and they got the QR code reader and they click on the front of the packaging, like you saw the front of the packaging, they would go to a web page that looks like this, and they could click here to watch a video demo. Of course, it would show you a video demo of how to use the product, or they could click on here and get a PDF or a document, or actually a web page that tells you more about the product and where to buy it. And of course, you wouldn't be doing any kind of business if you weren't connected to Facebook, right? So we got my Facebook link, and then I have instructions that they can print out. And these instructions are in a PDF format, PNG format. So I just want to show you that. So how I have them go there is I make a page. As you can see, this is a page that has several directories. I have zircon.com as the main domain, then it goes into a directory called products, then it goes to an HTML page. So that's, you know, I just have a designated path on the web server to go to the page, right? Because all, you know, if you think about it, all websites are a series of pages that you go from one document to the other, right? And here's the main page. Click on here, you go to, look, products, Edge. Click here, tips and tricks. These are all separate files on one web server. Okay, so let's make a QR code. To make a QR code, the easiest one is the well, let's just, I'm going to search Google and I'll show you which one. QR code. This one I like. Which one? This one. The QR code KAYWA.com. So we can write that on the board. QR code KAYWA. That's not Q, that's a G. Sorry. QR code dot KAYWA.com. Remember, there's a dot in there. What does that mean? This is what kind of web page? Subdomain. Remember the dot. Subdomain. Okay, so there's two types of codes that you can generate here inside this web page. One of them is a dynamic one, and the other one's a static. What is the difference? Well, they offer the ability to make a QR code that will change over time. Because right now when you make a static one, like you saw on the front of my package, that's kind of set. It's going to that address all the time. And you know, you want to change where it goes, you can't, because it's static, it's set to that address. Now what I could do is I can redirect from that address once they go there, but they still have to go there. They offer the ability, and how these people get money is they have something called a dynamic address or QR code that can change. Okay, so the code stays the same, the pointing to it can change, and they want you to pay for that. But the static one, hey, it's free, so click on static. Hey, static is free. I like free. Free is good. This is the page I use to make the code that goes on the front of the packaging. This is the one I use to make this code on the back here. Same web page. So first you need to find your address. Where am I going? I don't know. Go to the internet and find an address you like. Or go to your Facebook. You can copy and paste your Facebook in there. I can go to my page here, raskoff.com. I can go to a sub-page if I want. Hey, tutorials or classes. Find an address that you want. Copy that address. You can do a video. Let's go. I'm gonna do a video. I like videos. So you go to a video. Just like you were copying and pasting the YouTube video. Remember we did that into our webpage? You can go to a video. I don't know. Where's a good video? I don't know. These are all cheesy videos. I guess we could put my... Uh-oh, there he is. In fact, I can go to my whole channel right there. Look at that. I can copy and paste this address right there. See, copy and paste the address. Go back to that web page, wherever it was. Where is it? Oh, here it is. Put it in the address bar right there. See the address bar? Hit Command V, and then hit Generate. Boom. And it'll make your code. So whenever somebody clicks on this code right here, whenever somebody uses a QR reader to this, it'll go to this page right here, which is my YouTube channel. Yes?
With the HTTPS versus HTTP, does that matter in terms
With this, I don't think so. Remember, S stands for secure. And the reason why it's secure is because it's on YouTube and you would log into YouTube. Right? Just like your email. If you go to an email, to go to your email, it's going to be an S in there also. It means it's being encrypted. So once you have the code, you can do anything you want with it. I can right-click on it and say copy image, or I can save image as, right? Save your image. Right-click on your code right there. Save image and put it where you want. I can put it in my folder if I want. Hey, this is my code. Code for YouTube. Whatever you want to call it. Okay, and then you can put it in your packaging, you can put it on top of whatever. So again, right click and save image as, it puts it on your computer. Put it on your computer. Here it is, it's right there. So you can put it wherever you want on your packaging. You put it on a t-shirt, walk around, people scan you. Hire me and put one on there and then have it go to your LinkedIn page. Tells you all the great stuff about you. Again, you need the QR code reader. I don't have it on my phone. I can't. I haven't figured out how to use my iPhone 6 yet. But here it is. You can put it wherever you want. Here it is on my. So click on it. You go to my YouTube channel. It's not that hard.